You hatch beneath this desert without ever seeing the sky. Your body soft, pale, and completely helpless as you push free from the egg casing that once sealed you in silence. The world around you is already crowded, filled with other larvae writhing against one another in a confined chamber where space is limited and movement is constant. Before you can even adjust, a worker ant approaches, her antennae brushing across your body in quick, precise motions as she evaluates you without hesitation or care. Within seconds, you are lifted off the ground, carried through a narrow tunnel that slopes deeper into the colony, the light fading into a suffocating darkness that never lifts. You are dropped into a mass of other larvae, your body pressing against theirs as they shift and push back, each one competing for position without understanding why. There is no guidance, no comfort, only instinct driving every movement you make. A worker lowers her head towards you and releases a droplet of liquid directly into your mouth, and you consume it immediately because there is nothing else you can do. Around you, the same process repeats over and over as workers move efficiently between bodies, feeding some while ignoring others entirely. Not every larva continues moving. One nearby slows, its body barely reacting as a worker inspects it closely before lifting it away and disappearing into another tunnel. Nothing stops, and nothing changes after it is gone. You continue feeding, your body swelling gradually as the days pass, stretching your outer layer tighter and tighter until it finally splits open along your back. You crawl out of your old skin without hesitation, leaving it behind like everything else here that no longer serves a purpose. Weeks pass before you break free again, tearing through the thin cocoon that sealed you in place as your body finished changing into something more defined. When you emerge, you are no longer soft and blind. You have legs that hold your weight, antennae that read the air, and a body segmented into purpose. A worker approaches immediately, touching your antenna with hers, and something passes between you without sound. You understand what she wants, even though no one has taught you anything. You follow her into the tunnel, stepping into a system that never stops moving. Your first task begins without ceremony. A section of tunnel has partially collapsed, grains of sand scattered across the floor where the walls have given way. You grip each piece with your mandibles, carrying it away one fragment at a time, transporting it toward disposal chambers closer to the surface. Other workers pass you constantly, each one moving with the same efficiency, never slowing, never hesitating. The work changes, but it never ends. You are directed into a waste chamber where the air feels heavier, saturated with the scent of decay. The ground is layered with debris, dead ants curled into rigid shapes, fragments of dried food, and discarded cocoon shells crushed under constant movement. You grab whatever you can carry and drag it back through the tunnels, repeating the motion again and again until the pile begins to shrink. A larger worker arrives once the chamber is nearly cleared. She moves along the walls, her antenna sweeping across surfaces and bodies alike until she reaches you. She pauses, touches your antenna briefly, and something shifts. Approval. Then she leaves and the moment passes as quickly as it came. You are redirected again, this time toward the brood chambers, where rows of larvae wait to be fed. Before you can begin, a sudden vibration ripples through the colony. The ground above trembles. Every worker freezes at once, antennae raised, searching for direction. The silence lasts only seconds before urgency replaces stillness. Larvae are lifted and carried deeper underground, and you follow without question. You don't choose what you do next. You never will. Time passes without meaning until one day your routine shifts again. A larger worker approaches you in the main chamber and holds contact with your antenna longer than usual, the signal lingering in a way that feels final. Then she turns and begins moving toward a tunnel that slopes downward, deeper than any path you have taken before. You follow without hesitation, descending through narrowing passages where the air grows still and heavy, untouched by the constant traffic above. The tunnel opens suddenly into a vast chamber, its ceiling arched high overhead. Dozens of ants hang suspended from the surface, their bodies anchored in place while their abdomens swell to unnatural proportions. Some are small, only slightly distended, while others have expanded into translucent spheres, their stretched membranes glistening as they hold volumes far beyond what a normal body should contain. They barely move, their legs fixed in position as if they have become part of the structure itself. The worker who led you here climbs upward and pauses beside an empty patch of ceiling. She touches your antenna once more, and the message is clear without explanation. This is where you belong now. You climb, gripping the rough surface until your legs lock into place. There is no hesitation because there is no alternative. Another worker approaches from below and presses her mouth to yours, releasing a stream of liquid that you swallow reflexively. She feeds you again, and then again, each transfer forcing your internal storage to expand. You feel the pressure build as your abdomen stretches outward, the segments separating, the surface tightening as it accommodates more and more fluid. Your body grows heavier with each moment, your legs straining to maintain their hold as the weight pulls downward. Around you, the others exist in different states of fullness. Some are newly placed like you, their bodies only beginning to swell, while others have reached extremes where their abdomens resemble fragile containers, thin and distended to the point where any sudden movement could rupture them. None of them leave. None of them can. You remain there as the feeding continues, your form changing until movement is no longer possible. The tunnels, the work, the constant motion you once knew, all disappear. You are no longer a worker moving through the colony. You are something else entirely now, a living reservoir suspended in place, existing only to store what others will eventually take. Time moves forward and the pattern begins to change. Workers no longer arrive to feed you. Instead, they climb up and tap your antenna, repeating the signal insistently until you respond. You contract the muscles around your storage and force the liquid back up through your throat. One worker drinks, then another replaces her, and then another. A line forms beneath you as they take from you in steady intervals. Each transfer leaves you slightly smaller, your abdomen losing its tight, stretched shape as the stored reserves are gradually drained away. Around you, the other repletes are changing too, their swollen forms shrinking day by day as the colony pulls from every available source. Nothing is being added anymore, only taken. Then the structure itself begins to fail. At first, it is just a faint crack running across the ceiling above you, thin and barely visible. Sand trickles down through it in slow, uneven streams, dust falling past your face and collecting below. The vibrations follow soon after, deep and heavy, pulsing through the chamber in waves that make the surface tremble beneath your legs. The crack spreads, branching outward, widening as more material loosens and collapses. Without warning, a section gives way completely. The ceiling breaks apart and drops, carrying 2 repletes down with it. Their bodies hit the ground and rupture instantly, their distended abdomens bursting open as golden liquid sprays across the floor. Workers rush in immediately, swarming over the spill, consuming as much as they can before it seeps into the soil. No one tries to recover what was lost. There is nothing to recover. The shaking slows, but it does not end before something worse arrives. A chemical signal floods the chamber, sharp and unmistakable. Danger. Workers pour in from the tunnels above, forming lines along the walls and ceiling, positioning themselves between the entrance and the repletes. You remain fixed where you are, unable to move as the first wave of invaders surges through. Army ants flood the chamber in a dark, continuous mass. They do not hesitate or scatter. They advance. The first collisions happen instantly as your workers meet them head-on, mandibles locking, bodies grappling as they fall together to the ground below. More climb past, pushing upward toward you. One reaches a replete nearby and bites into its swollen abdomen. The membrane tears, and the stored liquid spills out in a sudden release, draining the body in seconds. The fighting spreads across every surface, bodies dropping, limbs tearing free, movement stopping as quickly as it begins. Then, just as suddenly, the army ants pull back, retreating through the same tunnel they entered, carrying fragments of food and struggling larvae with them. The chamber falls quiet again, but the damage remains. Around you, the reserves are nearly gone, the colony diminished, and there is nothing left to replace what has been lost. Time passes and the demands never stop. Workers continue to climb toward you, tapping your antenna, requesting what little you still hold. You respond every time, contracting what remains inside you and pushing it upward in small, measured amounts. Each exchange leaves you lighter, your abdomen shrinking further as the stretched surface begins to fold back in on itself. You are no longer swollen or full. You are nearly empty. Around you, the same process repeats. The other repletes have reduced to fractions of what they once were, their bodies no longer resembling the distended forms that define them. There is nothing left to store, and almost nothing left to give. The colony takes anyway. Then something changes. A worker climbs up to you, but she does not request food. Instead, she grips one of your legs and pulls. The force breaks your hold on the ceiling, and you fall, hitting the ground below. For the first time in months, you are no longer suspended. Your legs struggle to support you as you stand. Unsteady, but functional. You are not returned to your place. You are redirected. The tunnels feel unfamiliar as you move through them again, led upward toward an exit you have not seen since you were young. The colony no longer needs storage, it needs movement. You have been reduced to something that can still walk, and that is enough. Above ground, the desert stretches outward in dry, empty silence. The surface is cracked, scattered with brittle plant remains and loose sand that shifts under your weight. You search, moving farther than before, until you find something worth taking. A dead insect lying motionless, partially dried but still usable. You grip it and begin to drag it back. A shadow passes over you. You stop. The air shifts, it circles once, then again, growing closer each time before it drops down in front of you. The bird watches for a moment, then strikes without hesitation. Its beak closes around your body, lifting you off the ground before tightening with enough force to crush what remains inside you. It releases you a moment later. You fall, motionless, onto the hardened surface. By tomorrow, you will be dry. Another fragment in the desert, waiting for something else to take what is left.